Well, hello there, and welcome to the Backstage Pass. If you're popping on live sometime today or you're watching the replay, I'm so glad you joined along to check out a little bit of stamping for the week. And let's see, today's class is actually a Use It Up class. Usually this is the second Thursday of the month, but since we had 5 Thursdays in January, I decided that I would, because I missed the Use It Up class in December and moved it into the January slot, but had that 5th week. So that's why we're getting 2 Use It Ups in January. So I see that Lori Healy is watching. Welcome, Lori. Thank you for jumping on. And that, since you are watching, you are my cue to officially begin with good Thursday morning and welcome to the Backstage Pass. My name's Elizabeth, as you know. In the comments, let me know where you're watching from and if you're, just watching for some inspiration, or maybe you have the Otterly Adorable, Otterly Amazing, whatever the sweet collection is. It's an online exclusive, and that's what I'm focusing on today. I'm using up that really cute paper and actually pairing it with the bundle, the Otterly Amazing, what is the name of it? Yeah, it's Otterly Amazing is the bundle. Otterly Adorable is the DSP. So that's what we're working on today. And I'm glad you're here. So I'm going to go ahead and flip the screen and we will do just a little bit of business. And then we will dive into this really sweet little set. All right, here we go. Here comes the hand. I know you love that part, but let's get a good switch that angle there. Kind of see all my workspace. Okay. Let's see if we can get this a little bit. Hold on. Sorry for the delay, but I'm trying to get the best angle for you to see things. That's better than what it was. Okay. All right. I feel like I could kick it out a little. So hold on. Yeah. One of these days we'll have this down in a much smoother fashion. Okay. There is a host code for January. If you make a purchase, I would encourage you to use that host code. That will, help me to provide fun things for you guys. For upcoming classes. And let's see, let's move that aside. And number 1 announcement here, Paper Pumpkin. If you love Paper Pumpkin and you are looking for a tutorial full or a PDF that includes a whole bunch of tutorials, that's what Paper Pumpkin Creatives is. It has been that the only way to get this tutorial bundle is whether you're a Paper Pumpkin subscriber of mine or a downline member of mine. And so we actually are making an adjustment starting February 1st. You'll be able to purchase the Paper Pumpkin Creatives bundled tutorials. This will be $15. And you can get the January kit. You could go back and for $15 get the December, November, October, or September. So there's going to be 5 options in there that you could choose from. But you guys, these are really, really cool projects. These were the projects, the sneak peeks for December's kit that we put out on January 1st. Obviously, the ones that are coming out February 1st will be for the Hearts for You Paper Pumpkin kit. So that segues me right into next week. We will upstyle this Paper Pumpkin kit, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you'll join me. This will be in my Seeing Ink Spots page. So not in the Backstage Pass. It'll be in my page where you can find this class. Everybody who wants to come is invited. It's not behind in the VIP, so anybody can come. Okay, so speaking of anybody can come, boy, do we have big plans. We being myself and Julie Beltramo and a few other guests. We have the Wildflower Birthday Studio Ink Spots Stamp Camp is coming up in February, and this is going to be awesome. You guys, you're going to love it. It's a full day camp rather than just the one mini camp like we did at Christmas time. This will be, we actually have lots of stamp challenges for you. We will have bonus videos. We have presentations as in the past. There'll be 4 presentations. There will be the virtual swap and share, the game night with all kinds of great prizes. And then we'll also have, most important, 4 stamp sessions. So there'll be lots and lots of awesome stamping. We've got fancy folds. We've got just lots and lots of stuff for you. Hello, Dawn. Good to see you popping on. So like I say, fancy folds, really pretty artfully avid cards. We've got some cool packaging for you, some small packaging that's really quite unique and beautiful. And this Wildflower Birthday just makes it really, really cool. The only homework you will have is to think about whose birthdays, know what age they're going to be turning, because part of this has all those numbers in it. So it's like, yeah, happy 31st, happy, 14th birthday. So just know your birthdays. So here we go. That's that. And today's class is, like I said, the Use It Up class. My Use It Up classes will focus on using up, all of our bits and papers. Rather than them sitting in a file drawer or on your shelf, let's dive into those papers and use them up. So that's what we have for today. All right, so let's see. This is the stamp set right here. Super, super cute. And the great thing about the stamp set is if you run out of the paper, you still have all these cute little river otters. And that's what this is about. These aren't sea otters. These are river otters. So super, super cute set. Today, I'm actually going to be using the background stamps and the greetings and not so much these, because the focus is using up the different designer series paper. So if you have a Use It Up kit, you have lots of these different pieces of paper. All right. So I'm using up the little otters. And the cool thing is, if you notice, this otter from the paper is the exact same size as the otter from the stamp set. Okay. So that means they've given us a die to be able to die cut the stamped image or the printed image. So we're using up the printed images today. So we'll be doing that. And all 3 of these cute little dudes have dies to cut them out. So here's this little guy, okay? And then here is this one right here. I just think he is so cute. All of these are really cute. Their faces are so charming. So that's gonna be our first step in our first card here. So let me grab my, you can see I didn't do it ahead of time, so I'm kind of, working on the fly here. So we're gonna die cut these out, and I'm gonna use a little bit of Post-it labeling cover-up tape. That's what its official name is, but I use it as repositionable tape. Okay, so we'll just put this cute little dude right in here. Hi, Terry. Terry DeFont, how are you doing? So just let me let you know, if you have said hello and whatnot via a comment, they aren't showing up yet. Which is always my Terry's her comment did just show up. Yay, the comments are coming through. Good morning, Terry. I should say good Thursday morning. That's my favorite part of the class. Good Thursday morning. Okay, so we're putting these in place here, and this one seems to have moved a little bit, so let's hold that. Okay, so that will be our first step, is to die cut these cute sea otters using the coordinating dies. And if you have a Use It Up kit, you have these same critters. I made sure everybody had one of each of these. I mean, how cute is that? For real, super cute. Okay, this guy right here. Okay. And we'll get this little dude as well. Super cute. Now, the beauty is, once you run out of the paper, you still have those stamped images, like I mentioned. You'll just have to color them yourself, but that's part of the fun. I'm also going to do a little bit more die cutting, and I've brought out my, probably my most used set of dies. And if you recognize where these have come from, that's awesome. This is from the Stylish Shapes set of dies right here. And this is the largest rectangle. It actually is a rectangle. A square can be a rectangle, but a rectangle can't be a square. So this is the largest square from Stylish Shapes, the largest circle from Stylish Shapes, and the second to smallest circle from Stylish Shapes. We're going to cut some paper. And let's see, we're going to cut. So in your pack, if you have the kit, you have a square of this paper right here. These guys are cute. I've given you some of these extra little guys. We're going to use this square right here. And so I'm going to die cut this one. Okay, we're going to die cut that. Let's see what else we're going to die cut. You have another piece of paper in your kit. It has all these cool, like, river, foliages. But from this side, we're going to die cut this. So we'll die cut a circle right from there. And we're also going to die cut from one of your pieces of white. We're going to die cut a circle. So let's do these two in this first path. And then I'll do the square second time through. Okay? So let's run this through. Okay, so if you're just joining in, I'm just prepping some pieces that I'll be able to use on my card here. And you could use any dies or circle punches that are similar. They don't have to be the exact same size. But so there's my circle. There's my other circle. Now let's get our square done here real quick. And I'm going to put these all in the kind of the upper corner just so that I can save whatever paper is left, because I might use it for, die cutting some other elements for my card, whether it's some of the rocks that are in this cool little pack. So save that, save all of these. We're going to use them. But we are done with Stylish Shapes, so I'm going to go ahead and put these right back into the folder so that I don't lose them. It's the one thing I have to do is put them away or I'm in trouble. And I'm sure we're all in the same boat. Okay, so I've got those pieces. I've got my little river otters. Hold on to these, keep them nearby. And I'm also going to use this piece here, this crazy piece of, these schools of fish swimming around. The back side of this is more scenery of the river otters. Kind of cute, right? But I couldn't, I'm going to use this side because not everybody's going to have the exact same section of this piece. So that's why we're going to use this side. And I'm going to use, this is a pool party card base. So this was in your kit, as were all of these pieces. So this is just 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. Talk about easy. Then we're going to make this real easy. We're going to trim this down to be, it's 4 by 6 right now. Let's trim it down to be 4 by 5 1/4. So just that kind of that classic traditional mat size, 4 by 5 1/4. Okay. Save that. You could add it to the inside or whatever you might want to do with it. So there's that. So let's start nice and easy with this. I'm going to simply, I'm going to do a little bit of edging on this just to give it a little bit of, just to give it a little depth. So I'm going to bring some scratch paper in, bring in some pool party here, and a blending brush for pool party. Okay, so now I'm just going to kind of knock the real intense ink off, and I'm just going to come in and give a nice blend to the edges here. just giving it a little bit more depth and dimension. And then I'll rotate this around, re-ink my brush, and we'll do the same thing. So, just curious, what have you guys been up to this week? What's new? Have you stamped anything? Have you gotten ink on your fingers, so to say? I've been hanging out with Julie Beltramo. She's been in town. She's flying home today into the San Jose airport. But she and I got some good stamping done. And we also, there's a place that I found in Boise that I'd never been to before. That's it's a cross between a bakery, delicatessen, marketplace, cafe. Really cool place. So we went there yesterday and had a good time. Okay, so I'm just going to layer that there onto my card base. But I really like how, you could have just done the piece of DSP, but I like how it just adds a little bit more interest to the page. And then I'm going to use my green cap. And we'll add that. So I'm just centering it. So, nothing new, wild, and crazy here. This is just some, what I call, basic, classic, traditional layering, whatever you want to kind of call it. Okay, so there's that. My little guys are going to set aside here. This piece right here, I'm going to bring my scratch paper back, and I'm not going to reload any ink on here, but I'm just very gently going to add just a little bit, and I can see I've really not got any going there just yet, but I don't want to press too hard because I don't want any of these sorts of harsh lines. So just kind of slowly begin to add a little bit more pressure to offload a little bit of ink. And I'm trying to stay away from the sides because if I hit that side, I'm going to get a dark spot there as well. Okay, so just very gently add a nice haze of Pool Party to your circle. Wait, let me while that's out. And now, my most favored step, right? I'm going to take my Pool Party blend. This is dark. And I'll take my bone folder here just to add nice little splatters there. And so it ended up looking really cool. So nothing too harsh, but it's not just a blank piece of paper. And on this, we're going to stamp. I'm going to use Early Espresso to kind of bring up some of those darker tones in this cute little river otter. I'm going to stamp the "You Are Otterly Amazing." This is my favorite image greeting in this stamp set. Okay, so Terry says, she says, like what you did with the DSP, agree, it adds more interest. Yeah. So sometimes it's, you think, oh, I could keep it simple and just add the DSP. And other times it's like, you know what, I kind of really want to zhuzh it up a little bit. All right, so I haven't used this image in a while. So I'm inking up and I'm just making sure it inks up nicely. And now I'm just going to put this right smack dab. Am I putting it smack dab in the middle? I'm going to go just a little bit higher than really, just a little higher than center, but pretty close. Okay. Just like that, we have a cute greeting there. I can see I probably need to re-ink my Early Espresso ink pad. It could be juicier. I would like it to be just a little bit more intense. So yeah, how do you know when to re-ink your pads? It's like when you're having a hard time getting any kind of coverage with them. That's when you need to redo them. Okay, so let's kind of get this started with what we're going to do here. We're going to add dimensionals. Oh, look how I'm like almost perfectly framed that. Holy moly. That's so cute. But we're going to add dimensionals. And since this is DSP, I'm going to add one more in the middle just so it doesn't sag too much. Yes, Lori, I am going to on stage. Are you going? That's a great question. Yes, who's going? Who wants to get together to say hello and all of that good stuff? All right, I'm going to add my square down here. And now we're going to take the circle and I'm going to overlap the circle right on top. And I'm going to glue this layer. Okay, let's see, we'll have this, this watery look going across rather than up and down. So yes, if you're watching the replay or you are watching live right now, that Lori just said, I will have to, yes, we will have to look for each other. So that's the thing. It's like we all kind of need to look out for one another and say hello. I think I'm going to move this one off to the side just a little bit for right now. We'll see. It may not end there, but I'm going to add this little dude here. And this guy's going to kind of swim across over here. And I may even put this guy kind of back in here. We'll see where he ends up. This is kind of the layout of where we're going to go. But if you remember, I said, hold on to these pieces because we may be adding more things. So what I'd like to do with my white right here is I'm going to, let's see, I have some green. So we're going to do more ink blending. We're going to do some ink blending today. Whether it's ink blending or Stampin' blending. And let's see, so with my green blending brush, okay, I'm just going to kind of knock that off and just, well, so much for knocking it off. That's okay. I'm just going to kind of make some green paper up in here that I'll be able to die cut some leaves and things. And now I'm going to add some Lost Lagoon as well. So I'm not going to create an ombre. I'll do some ombre work later today. But so here's some Lost Lagoon. I'm just going to kind of add it in here and there just to create some interest in this. And then maybe blend over the whole thing. Okay, so it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect because I'm going to use, there are some cool dies in here. So both of these two, they're not exactly the same, which is nice. They're slightly different. One's a little shorter, but let's get some of these cut, right? Let's do a couple of those. And there's this little die as well. So since we have it, let's just do another bit of, we'll just do that one right there. Let's die cut these, and then I'm going to be adding these to my my little collage here. But while we have this, let me grab, I did bring Flirty Flamingo ink, but I didn't bring a blending brush for Flirty Flamingo. But I have some Flirty Flamingo Stampin' blends here. So I'm just going to do some real quick, I'm just going to make some Flirty Flamingo paper. I know that doesn't look wonderful, but, you know, just kind of bring that in. Don't color the whole thing, kind of leave it interesting. And I'm going to come back over and kind of blend that. My light Flirty Flamingo has seen better days. But just blend up some paper. Doesn't have to look great because by the time you die cut it, you're not going to notice that it was, you know, all stripy like that. So here's this little die right here. Look at that. It's a pair of fish. And so I'm just going to kind of put that right there. And let's die cut these pieces. I think I might need a few more fish than just two. But I'm right here. Haven't left. Just over at my die cut machine for right now. It doesn't fit under the camera here. Okay, so here's what we have just got here. So we go from ugly looking paper to some more interesting pieces here. Pop these out. There we go. Sometimes if you drop it, it kind of loosens them. Hello, Alicia. So here's my one little bit of, whoops, we lost our collage here. So we'll add that into the game. Put that up there. And let's see, we have some other pieces. Let me just kind of pop these out. Okay, and let's take a look at our fish. Ah, yeah, see? That's cool looking. It's not just a flat piece of paper. So we'll have some fish. Yeah, I think I'm going to do another set of fish just for fun. And there's that bigger leaf. So I think we have enough foliage for this card. I just do want a couple more fish. So let me pop that guy out. We'll use that, maybe. Or we'll save it for another card. There's that. Okay, so let me run this through. So I have 4 fish. All right, here we have it. Okay. I think I now have almost everything that I want. I have all my die cuts, I know that. And I think I have everything that I want for this card, except for some embellishments. So we'll get to the embellishments in a second here. But I'm going to put all of my, my dies back in my little magnetic holder. Let me close up my ink pads here. Okay. All right, so now let's work on kind of laying this out and adding these. So I'm going to, I'm just going to kind of set these off to the side. This piece here, I don't want to do it right straight over. I am going to offset it just a little bit, just to kind of make it a little bit more asymmetrical. But my otters here, I'm definitely going to add dimensionals to this. And man, I don't have any minis in my thing again. So I'm just gonna go like this and make minis. There we go. Okay, so this layer here is gonna go up on dimensionals. So if I kind of look at it, if I flip it over, I know that I'm gonna have to double up right here and then just a single layer of dimensionals on that side. Whoops, I pulled the backing right off. So this one on top is going to be a double layer. And then we have a couple right in here that only need a single. Okay. And we will add that to the card. Super cute. Now, let's see here. Let's add. So he's going to glue, his face is going to glue, but his body needs, and tail will need dimensionals. Oops, I keep pulling the backing and not getting the other piece. Okay. So like that, and then a little glue here. Okay, we'll get rid of these dimensional backings. What's the weirdest place you found a dimensional backing? I had one in my computer yesterday. When I opened it up, it was just kind of sitting there. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Okay, dimensional. And then, so it looks like his tail can have some dimensional. But some of him will kind of be resting up on his buddy right here. So we'll do a little glue right there. And I need to, so I like to take these types of scraps and clean my glue tip. Okay, now we can add him. Just kind of like this. So they just be swimming and hanging out together. And I'm not gonna, I'm kind of gonna be gentle about how I put him down for just a second, because I'm gonna tuck some of this foliage right in here. So we're gonna have some kind of down in here. And we'll have another one kind of coming up like so. Maybe just a little bit higher. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make these just a little bit more. They're a little, even though we colored them and there's kind of a blend of greenish blue, I'm gonna actually splatter a little bit of dark brown on these little guys in hopes to give them just a little bit more depth. Good. So, I mean, you can see, let me bring this paper up to the camera just a little closer. You can see all of those little dots right in there, but it did add a nice, it just made it just a little bit more, yeah, I like that. It needed just a little some, you know, what kind of technique is, but yeah, so just adding a little bit more zhuzh to it. Okay, so I'm going to add just a little bit of glue here. And I'm not going to glue everything down, you know, just let some of it kind of be free and kind of let it be organic dimension, so to say. Hello, hello, Jacqueline. How's it going? Okay, so I'm just going to kind of pop that one right in there. And then this one's going to kind of hit this area right in there like that. So Lori Healy, you said you were going to On Stage. I know Jacqueline, she's going. Are any of you that are going, are you going to be attending the after hours? Okay, I think Lori Healy, that's where I saw you last time, was at After Hours. Was that you or was that Sherry Pyre? I think it might have been both of you. All right. You're doing your card for the hop right now, for Creation Station hop? Is that the one? Or just curious? Okay, so I have some more little foliage here. So I think I'm just going to do a little bit right down over in here. And maybe we'll take this one last piece, kind of right up in there. Okay, that'll be cute. And we'll just glue these, keep it easy. Yes, she says, awesome. I'm excited to see it. So if you're not quite sure what Jacqueline's talking about, Jacqueline, we have added Jacqueline to the Creation Station design team. So that'll be fun to have her and see all of her loveliness, all of her fun creations. Okay, so there's my little bits of that. And so this guy, I'm not sure if I'll use him here, but he could be cute on the inside of the card. He could be cute up here, but instead I'm thinking I want my fish. So here come the fish. The fish are going to swim in and through. So a little glue here. And I'm going to turn this fish around. So he's swimming stage right. Kind of put him right there. Well, maybe a little lower. There we go. Just so it's not right at the tip of that tail. Okay, there's one fish. I feel like Dr. Seuss, one fish, two fish. Okay. This little guy, we'll have him coming from under there. So cute, you guys. Just cute, cute elements. Thank you, Stampin' Up, for making fun stuff. Let's see, let's get another. This one will kind of be swimming over here. I am having fun. Are you? Fun times. And let's see, this last little fishy, I'm not quite sure. Oh, that could be cute. Yeah, let's do that. This last fish will come swimming out from right there. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. But I feel like I'm going to need to put a dimensional right there. Okay, so here's this little fish swimming right there. I like that I can see his little tail. But right in here, I'm kind of sagging. So I'm just going to take a dimensional here. And I like to put these on like the tip of my hobby blade. And I don't know why I don't like my paper piercer or the piercing tool of your take your pick tool. I like that flatness. I really reach for this all the time. Okay. now. Okay, so that helped that where it was sagging and kind of touching, that helped to kind of level that out. Okay, so yes, I'm going to save him for the inside or for another card. And now I'd like to, in your Use It Up little kit, you have some pieces in here, and I've got some of the polished rocks. I don't even remember what they were called, but they were in part of the Sweet collection. We have some of those, but I went through my stash of stuff, and I also found some of, do you remember the sea glass pieces? So we're going to use these up. And then also I have some, this is the gray granite from the Essentials. Oh, I have pieces. I think you guys have one long piece, but we all have enough here to do whatever. So I'm going to just tie a bow. So just tie yourself a bow. You have plenty of that stuff. Well, I don't know why I can never tie it in the center. Guys, you hear me say it every time. Okay, so this is the Essentials that has the white, the cream, the black, the crumb cake, and like gray, or I'm not quite sure. Anyways, so it's from that pack of Baker's Twine in the catalog, the main catalog. And so I had a bunch of it. So I'm like, let's use this up. It looks good with these papers. So I'm thinking that we will just kind of add this, and I'm not entirely sure where, but I think we'll do something kind of like that. I was thinking it was going to go down here, but I kind of like it up in here. It just kind of mimics the moving water. So Kathleen says, wish you would have gotten this kit. Love the sea scenes. Oceany. Let me see. I see more. So cute. It is really cute. This is still available. I'm just using mine up. So not to worry. It is out there if you really, really, enjoy these are our river otters. Okay, so I'm going to put a little glue dot on my Baker's Twine here. Okay, so I have to ask you a question. Baker's Twine or linen thread? You tell me which one you like better. Baker's Twine or linen thread? I know what I like better. And I got my Baker's Twine tangled up on my fishtail. Okay. All right. I'm fumbling around, but we'll get this in there and we'll get some sea glass. And then we'll make the whole thing glisten with my bestie, Stella. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of tuck that in there. Yes, okay, so linen thread. Anybody else for linen thread or Baker's Twine? So tell me, why do you like linen thread? Why do you prefer, those of you who answered, Jacqueline, Lori, why do you prefer the linen thread to the Baker's Twine? For this reason right here, because it doesn't hold its shape. Kathleen's linen thread too. Wow. Yep, I am with you guys. Linen thread, because sometimes the Baker's Twine can be kind of lifeless in a way, if that makes sense. It can kind of be like limp and, it doesn't hold its shape the way some of the other stuff does. Okay, you guys have lots of this sea glass, so I'm just going to have fun just adding some of these little bits to kind of look like, rocks down at the bottom of the river here. So just have some fun playing with those, adding a little dimension here and there. Okay, so I have a little grouping there. Let's throw some down here as well. Come on. And some Baker's Twine is too thick. Yeah, it's too thick for some cards. Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's see. Maybe we'll get a couple right up in here. Okay, Jacqueline, yes, the gold linen, not the gold linen thread, but the gold twisted thread. That stuff is like off the charts awesome. If you don't have any, Well, unfortunately, you can't order it right now. But let me tell you, I have gone through so many rolls of it. So many rolls of that linen thread. I hear you, Jacqueline. I love it because one, it holds its shape beautifully, and then it adds such a nice bit of sparkle to whatever you're working on. It's just so cool. Okay, so I'm still playing with this thing because this guy won't hold its shape. But, you know, sometimes you really just have to kind of work your bow. You have to style it just right so that it looks nice and, you know, just the way you want it for your recipient. And that's not quite the way I want it. I will fix it eventually, but you don't have to sit here and watch me fumble through that. But we will add a little bit of Stella. I'm going to hit their faces and their little paws. And I'm going to get the fish. And then we'll give it a good splattering. And I need to prime this a little bit more, get it going. Ah, look at all that pretty stuff that I just wasted. Okay. Oh, now we're splattering. Splattering. Okay. Super cute. So there is my finished card, our first otter card. Stupid baker's twine. You will stay put. And what I was actually mimicking was this 3D box here, right here. This is a diamond fold bag, all right? But this cute little scene right here, I just kind of morphed that right into a card. So from box to card, there you have it. A little bit different. This one includes the soft cord. I didn't have any more of the soft cord. I had used it all up before I made the use it up kits. So, but this cord would be really cute on this card. So anyhow, there is project number 1. We are done with number 1. All right, moving right along to number 2. This is going to be equally as cute, but a little bit different. And I think what really surprised me with this pack of designer series paper was this print right here. It's a bunch of rocks, but what's interesting is the use of Flirty Flamingo. And I just think that, you know, that addition of that color really kind of brought this to life. I didn't even realize this was in there until I saw someone use that piece of paper and I went, oh, that's part of that pack? How did I miss it? But anyways, this is a very interesting piece of paper. The back side is also a very cute, you know, you see the river otters there swimming. Again, because we don't all have the same piece, I can't really use that side, but that would make a really cute card front and add stuff to it. But we're going to use this side. To me, this is the harder side to use. So anyways, Sherry, hello and welcome. All right. Also in your pack, we have a half sheet of Pretty Peacock. And so this is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, keeping it real easy there. Okay. And you also have in your pack a piece of Flirty Flamingo. All right. Now the width on this is 2.5 by 5.5. And I want to do something to this right away because I'm going to use it on my card, but I don't want it to be quite so like in your face. I mean, it's a little strong the way it is right now. So I'm going to take my craft ink pad and you can squeeze it and get some ink, or you can take your, oh, this isn't, I thought this was my white refill. This is Snowfall Accents Puff Paint. We don't want that. So instead of using white ink refill, I will just squeeze right from the lid. I like using the refill because then it's a really intense white. This ends up being a little bit more faint, but that's okay. I'm going to take my spritzer here and just add some spritz of water so that I have some ink. It's kind of milky. And I'm going to just take my bone folder and we'll just soften this paper with some splatters. Now, these splatters, you're not going to want to touch them. You want to let them air dry because you want them to hold their splatter shape. Ah, that was a good one. It's going to take a while for that to dry. That's okay. But I'll hold this up, and that's all I'm going to do, keeping that real easy. Let me just get rid of that out of my water painter. That's it. That's all I'm going to do with the white. I am going to add Stella. This adds that extra dimension because it makes it kind of look a little bit more galaxy-like in a way. I know that's kind of a strange, but let me just show that to you. So we're just going to set this aside to dry naturally, okay? Because I don't want any of those little dots of ink. I want them to dry the way they are right there. Okay, so now let's check out. I've already done a little bit of fussy cutting because some of the images in the paper, they actually don't have matching dies, but you can always use your universal die cutters to fussy cut that out. And I've done that ahead of time. Sherry says, hello. Well, hello, Sherry. Good to have you here. She says, I'm thinking these designs would work well with the duck DSP. Isn't it On the Pond or something like that? Can't think of the name offhand. That is so interesting. I have some of that paper, not much. I just have like a piece of each. I'm going to have to go look at that. I think you are right. That would be a really fun way to take the stamp images with the pond stuff in a completely different direction. And you know, that's what I think is really fun. And I call that mashing up. So it's taking things that, you know, jump to a completely different set of papers to be your inspiration from a different sweet collection. And it's fun to see that in a new light. So excellent suggestion. I love it, Sherry. So I have fussy cut these two cute little dudes. And I can see sometimes when I fussy cut at night, some extra edges that need just a little bit more, a little bit more trimming here and there. Okay. Anyhow, so I have that one cut out. And I also have this cute guy cut out. So I have plans for these two in my next card. And so that first card I had mentioned, if you read in the, oh, I just set my box on my paper. Brilliant. My stamp case. That was stupid. But I had mentioned that these would make cute Valentines. And so I think you're utterly amazing. This would be a cute Valentine. It doesn't have to be all red and pink and be mine, right? So this one is going to not be red and pink. It's going to be otters, right? And this one's going to be love you lots. Okay. So this one to me works for, you know, I could give this to my son and it wouldn't feel too cutesy. While it's cute, but it's not like pink and red cute, right? Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to take my designer series paper and I'm going to do just a little bit of trimming and I'm going to cut, we're going to cut a, let's cut a 1.5 inch strip. Okay, that way I can save some of this paper. You could use the whole thing, but I'm actually going to conserve a little bit of paper here. So I've got a 2 inch by 5.5 inch piece. I'm sorry, a 1.5 by 5.5. And now I'm going to rip this up the middle so that I have two 3/4 inch pieces, okay? And so these two 3/4 inch pieces are going to frame or edge my flirty flamingo. So that's what I'm saying. I could have put an entire piece behind it, but I wanted to conserve a little bit of paper and then that way I could use that. I could make this project a second time if I wanted, make another one. Anyhow, so let's look at our layout. I think we're pretty dry here. Yeah, we're good. So now I can just kind of, let's add some glue to these. And this is going to be an asymmetrical layout, and I'm going to arrange it on the right side of the card. So we're going to put all of this kind of strong paper, these intense colors here, but we're going to line them up over here on this side. So this one, I think I'm going to glue it right to the edge of my paper. So you could glue it behind your Flirty Flamingo or to your green here, your peacock. Even that looks cool, I think. Okay. But just by going like this, we have this paper that it's really cool, but it's a very strong design. So it's like, well, how do we tame it down? That's how we're gonna tamper it down just a little bit, okay? So let's add this layer as well. Okay. So we'll just kind of glue that. And I can see I'm a little bit longer than my green. So I'm gonna bring in, as Rose Carey calls it, the happy chopper. And I'm gonna clean up my ends over here. What I mean by cleaning up my ends is you can see that some of that is hanging off the edge there. So before I get any further on my card, I'll clean up that edge. And this is the happy chopper. Cleaning up edges like this, I can't do it on my cutter. I need that guillotine cutter, if you know what I mean. It just doesn't quite work trying to cut these teeny skinny little strips on our paper trimmer. But this, you can kind of come in and get those little hair lines off that are slightly off and just clean that edge up, okay? So I agree. She calls it the happy chopper. I have taken her up on that name, and I like that name too. Okay, so there is that. And let's see, we've got some otters here. And so we're going to have an otter. Let's see, we've got this guy and this guy. And in your kit, there is a petal pink circle. So we're going to use this petal pink circle. This is going to kind of work into our mix here. And so I haven't decided if I want the two, if we're going to go this direction. I kind of like the way that they're facing each other. Okay. And I also have in my kit here, this is the leather. It was faux leather from a while ago. It was from the cocoa bean and the almond and the vanilla sweet. So we're gonna wrap this. We're gonna take this around our entire card front here. We're gonna do something really, really easy. You're gonna have a little extra, which you'll be able to use on another project, but this is just going to be a square knot. Just keep it super simple. So square knot, be a little thick, but that's okay. Okay. Kind of roll that over. Well, hold on there, folks. Let's try and make that a little bit more square. All right, so let me think this through. This is left over. Now I've got to go left under. There we go. That be square. I always kind of have to say it to myself. And then we'll just trim this. And I'm just going to trim it right straight across and even it up. Okay. Now this piece, you know, it's a little short, but it could go around something more narrow like this piece, or you could just tie it and add it somewhere. It's kind of cool. So use that up as well. We're not going to use it today, but you can in your stash of stuff. So let's stamp this greeting here. I'm going to stamp this greeting. Let's do, I really like the You're Otterly Amazing, but let's give some attention to the Love You Lots. Love You Lots. And so I'm going to use the espresso again. I wish I had brought out Pretty Peacock, but I didn't. Oh well, that's okay. We're going to use some espresso. This is the Love You Lots. Okay. And I'm going to stamp this like right in the middle. Just like so. Cute, cute, cute. Let's give a little bit of life to this flat petal pink circle. We'll give it a little bit of life, a little zhuzh with let's bring in some Flirty Flamingo. Okay. And we'll just splatter a little here. I like Flirty Flamingo on Petal Pink. It's and Bubble Bath right in there. All of those analogous colors together. Hello, Nicole. Hello, Jan. Good to have you guys here joining along. All right, let's stylize this. Okay, bring that to life. We'll let that one dry. We're going to put dimensionals on the back of this, of course, because we can. Okay, I'm just going to do 3 on this. Okay. And let's see exactly where this is going to go. I'm not quite sure, so I'm just going to kind of rest it there for now. But we decided we liked him up here, right in there, kind of like that. So let's see, I think, you know, kind of where it is, where it landed, I actually kind of quite like. Okay, I'm just going to straighten that off. And now with this cute guy, a lot of him is going to glue. So I'm going to put a little bit of a dimensional behind his head right here. And I'm just going to let all of these cattails and other leaves just kind of, they're going to just flow on their own, if you know what I mean. I'm not going to worry about gluing them down or anything. All right, so I am kind of kicking the top of that L up into this where his little foot is. Right there like that. Okay. That's cute. Super, super cute. And now we'll do the same thing. Let's see where these guys. So definitely across the log, I can get some action in there. 1, 2, and I think I'm going to put one more just so it doesn't sag since it is DSP. And then I'll put a little glue right here on their heads. And we'll just get these guys in here. Okay. Super cute. Super cute. There's a lot of pink here, but I'm okay with it. Let's see. We have this piece of paper here. We're going to do a little bit more with this. And let's go ahead and let's do, I've got a little bit more green here in this area. So I'm going to take my little, this is the duo leaf die here. Let's see if we can squeeze this in. Looks like we can. We'll squeeze that right there. I also have this piece right here. I also have some pebbled path. Either one of these, if you want to use either one of these, there is a cool, every stamper needs some rock dies. So we have some rocks that we can be stamping and die cutting rather. So we'll do that. And there's one more image, and I should have done this before we layered all of this on. I was going to do this, but I forgot. Look at this cute little school of fish image. This we're going to add a school of fish. It's like, oh shoot, my cattails are in the way here. We'll just kind of have to lift that up. I wanted some fish in there and I forgot to add them, but here we go. Let's do it now. The one positive thing is that it's like, oh, I wanted the school of fish in there, but sometimes you don't know exactly where you want them. So at least now I know exactly where I want them. So we're just going to lift that out of my way. Super cute, super cute. Now here's what's cute about this stamp is I'm going to go ahead and have some fish coming around the other way. Okay, so you can flip it upside down and kind of do a little something with it there. And then in this area, there's a tiny little image here. It's some little leaves. And so let's do some Lost Lagoon. And I'm just going to do a little bit, not a lot. This isn't Lost Lagoon. This is Old Olive. Okay, and so I'm just going to, and I should have done this before as well, but we'll just kind of tuck it right up in here. Okay, and I can even do some right in this area. Okay, so that's going to be just a background because I'm going to add some rocks and some more leaves right in there. We'll kind of create a little lagoon type area. So we have these leaves that we're going to do. Let me do that one real fast. And then I'm going to do some rocks. Yeah, like I said, everybody needs some rock dyes in their stash of you know, die cuts and things. Okay, so there's the leaves. They're stuck on the plate. So here it comes. I'm going to get them. Okay, so these two leaves. Now, this leaf won't feel quite so like it's just floating in midair when we kind of add that one in there. And then we can kind of tuck this one right in there. Look how cute that is. If we feel like we need a few more, which I might, I'll just make more paper, right? Because we can. Just like we did the first time. There's a little old olive. These are a little lighter. Let me get a little more Lost Lagoon going in here. The school of fish is the money maker, and don't you love that it's, I'm going to call it ambidextrous. You can do it up or you can do it down. You can do it right, you can do it left. Okay, so now I have a little bit more leaf action going here. Nicole was using an older paper pumpkin stamp set last night and spotted the cutest little flutter of butterflies and thought, there's the moneymaker. Liz's name of things influenced me. Yeah, moneymaker, the magic stamp. Yeah, I do. I like to do those. I like to call them different things. Okay, so I think I'm going to do some rocks. Like I said, you could use the pebbled path. But I'm going to use this scrap right here. Why not? It's already kind of modeled and it's the right color for me. So I'm going to throw some, there's 3 dies. You get a small, medium, and a large. And let's see, we'll get some more foliage action going here. And maybe while I'm here, why not? Let's just do a couple of the big guys. Yeah, so the moneymaker, the magic stamp, Kayleen asked, what do you mean by magic stamp? I'd said that the other day, and I said, it's the stamp in your set that just, you know, it's like magic, and it makes things really cool. So, okay, let's see if we can get a couple of these on here. Kind of move this right in there. Maybe if I tilt these, there we go. Look at that. Now I can get all kinds of foliage. Whether I use them all or not, I don't know. So what did you make with that little swarm of butterflies, Nicole? I want to see. Okay, here come my pieces. Just like... Now look at these rocks. Oh, they even kind of look cool that way, even though that's an otter's face. But these are just fun. I mean, they kind of mimic the ones that are in the pictures here. You know, maybe we can take this one. I think I'm going to, because it's so big and awkward, I'm going to tuck it back in here. Kind of get it under. There's a dimensional in my way, but let's definitely get, you know, maybe another rock right in here. Maybe another one right there. Just have some fun. You know, maybe this one's small enough to kind of tuck in here. Just wherever you want to put them. So you ended up using another set last night, but left it out so you could use it tonight. Haha. You got a bunch of leftovers from your mom, from 10 paper pumpkin kits, and you're, oh, that sounds fun. That's like a lot of fun. I'm wondering if this rock, kind of like that in there. I think I'm going to do one more pass. Not the big guy. He's just too big. I'm going to get a couple more small rocks. And then let's check out our foliage that we have here. This one I might use on our next card because it's a little high. Although I kind of held that over and I'm like, oh, I kind of like that. We're working on the fly here. Never made this card. I'm working off of a sketch that I made earlier, if you're wondering. Because I only had the one use it up kit, so I had to use it right now. So that's kind of the craziness. Sometimes I don't keep 2 sets for myself. I only have one. But it's kind of fun. Going, okay, what's it going to be? What are we making? It's kind of the way I cook, too. What am I making? What leftovers do I have? What's going to be good together? Okay, a couple more rocks. Now let's get this one all put together. And I am going to use some of these little stones that are part of the sweet collection. We'll use those in here for sure. Okay, there's one more rock. There's my other rock. We'll flip these over. Okay, and then maybe tuck another little bit of foliage right in here. And I think I'd like to see, I want that one kind of down a little bit. Do I want one there or do I want rocks? Just thinking maybe just a skosh up in here, or maybe even, yeah. Oh, that's cute right there. I like the way that these two oppose that one. And then we'll get this guy coming out just a little bit more to kind of tie in that stamping. I think what I'm going to do, watch this. I'm going to take a piece and tuck it there. Okay. Maybe take this and reshape it so it's like a top leaf. And we can tuck this one kind of way in there. Yeah, we'll kind of do something like that. I'm going to hold off, maybe not. And then let's get kind of another rock in there. And we can get a little rock right there as well. So we'll kind of glue that in place and then add our little stones here. Okay, so here we go. Let's glue these. And we'll finish this guy up. There's that bit of foliage. Okay, that one. And then I'm gonna glue this rock. Some of these others, I might put a dimensional behind them just to give them a little bit of lift. A little rock kind of hiding right there. Okay. My thread, my not linen, but my leather is kind of twisting on me. Kind of want to train it the way I want it to go. Yeah, this little swarm, little school of fish. It's the magic stamp, the moneymaker. Okay. This one, we are nearing completing this. But I just kind of like the way we've added some stamped and die cut to mix in with the printed, foliage here. It just kind of adds a nice little, a nice little added bit of dimension. Speaking of dimension, let's put a little half-Z on this rock here, on the sticky side maybe. Okay. And we'll add this rock. I'm going to tuck it behind. I don't want to see too much of it. Super cute. We need to glue this rock. Okay, so this is all glued. We just need to kind of work this area right here. I think I'm going to pull that rock. Maybe do it a little bit higher right up in there so that I'm not, it was to me fighting a little bit with the knot of my leather. So just kind of tuck this guy back in there. That way we're kind of bringing the DSP across and over and beyond, which is what I like to do. I like to kind of, you know, intersect things and kind of move things, kind of group things. It creates what I call gravity on your page or your card front. There's that. Let's get this little bit of greenery. Tuck this in here. Cute. So there's a little bit of stamping tucked in there. Not a ton. I should have done a little bit more, but I forgot. All right, so I've got glue coming out, so I'm going to clean that up. This is why I like having a hobby blade. And yeah, there's a hobby blade tip on this, but I reach for this all the time. I don't know why. I don't know why. Okay, I'm going to try and see if I can move this guy. Well, I think it's on there. It's not going anywhere. So I think I'll soften it by adding just a little bit more greenery right in there. Okay. But I'm going to trim this because it looks a little awkward. Just a skosh more. Okay, cool. That looks a little better. So I've just trimmed that so it's kind of not, it was kind of looked a little weird, but this kind of softened it just a little bit. Okay, so, and then this piece kind of softens that rock. And then we can lay that underneath. Cool. I love it. All right, now for some of the fun. So these came in 3 colors. So there's kind of this greenish Lost Lagoon color. There's a gray, and then there's a white. So, and there's 2 sizes. So I think everybody has the same amount. I just kind of split it up amongst all of us. So I think you have 2 large and 2 small of each color. So there's the white, the kind of the brownish, and then there's the green. So now just have some fun adding some rocks in here. So let's see, let's go with this grayish color and just kind of add them in and among your other rocks. I mean, come on, how cute is that? I think it's cute. Cute, cute, cute. Then go ahead and, maybe change up the color just a little bit. So maybe we add, this is the kind of the peacock color. And then maybe we'll put one more. So there's 1, 2, 3. Let's see, kind of work it around. Where do you want your rocks? I kind of liked it down in here. There's one there. Let's do one more rock. Let's do a white one. Okay. Just kind of bring it up in here. Or wherever you like them. Okay, so I'm going to set these aside for my last card. We'll definitely be using those up. Let me see if I can get my leather here to twist and, oh yeah, that was good. That helped that to lay a little flatter. Cool. And let's just give a little bit of charm to their faces and their paws. Maybe the cattails, get his little face. Okay, just a little here and there. And then it's already been splattered, but I wanted to give just a little bit to those cute little guys. So that's cute. So here's what you do when you have kind of a crazy pattern, but you want to bring out the color. So, and we used these up from another class. I had all these circles punched. So I like when we're getting things used up. Cute, cute, cute. Cute stuff. All right. This next one. All right. Let's see. We have a couple pieces of white left. We'll definitely be using those. But I have another piece of, and you had 2 pieces of this in your Use It Up kit. This is the side. I had originally thought, oh yeah, I'll use this side because we used the other side on the other card, but I really like this paper, and so we're going to use this piece again. And here's what I want to do with it. I'm going to create an ombre on my paper here. And so I'm going to start with Pool Party, will be my first color of ink. Okay, now my piece of paper here is 4x6, and I'm going to use it all. So here we go. Here's Pool Party. Okay, I'm going to kind of knock off the rough stuff. And I'm going to start a little ways down because I want just some of the paper the way it originally was. So this will be our lightest color. Then we're going to switch to Pool Party here. And I'm just kind of working all the way across in a circular motion, adding Pool Party. Okay, blend up just a little bit, come down a little bit. So hopefully you can definitely see the difference between the paper, then Pool Party. Now let's switch it out to Lost Lagoon. I'm going to use the same blending brush. Just fill it with Lost Lagoon. I am going to try and knock off those harsher colors. And I'm going to start lightly because I don't want to have any of those crazy harsh marks. And move up into that Pool Party section, but kind of bring it down as well. And then I like to also reverse my direction because it's offloading ink from the other side of the bristles. Okay, hopefully you can see the differentiation between the paper, the Pool Party, and the Lost Lagoon. Just bringing this down. Now I'm going to switch out my brush, and I'm going to bring in Old Olive and switch out, like I said, switch out that brush, load it up with ink, offload the craziness. Now gently start adding your Old Olive. Okay, you kind of want to go up into that Lost Lagoon, and you're creating like Lost Olive or, you know, Old Lagoon. Okay, so you're creating a new color in there. I love to blend colors. Okay, so we have olive towards the bottom, but we have that new color that we've created in between. And you can always kind of go in and kind of buff through there at that line of demarcation. All right, so that's olive. And now let's do a little pumpkin pie. I'm sorry, pecan pie. Pecan, what do you like to say? Oh, I'm glad you like it, Nicole. Here's pecan. Okay, so again, knock off the craziness. And let's bring this down to the bottom here. And again, join the Old Olive and the pecan pie. Just kind of blend right into it. So the cool thing about, you know, creating like an ombre or blending ink onto a designer piece of paper is you still have kind of this watermark that's kind of running through it. So, okay, and so you can get that as dark or as light as you want it. But I kind of like it right there. I think it's coming along, maybe a little darker on the bottom. I could even come in here and do some early espresso, but I think this is good. Again, reverse. There we go. So there's the 4 colors and then the designer series paper as well. All right, so now what we're going to do is rip it all up. But let's see what we have here also. I have a card base here that is pecan pie. So it's a half sheet, 8.5, 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Nothing magic there. Okay, so this is going to be our card base. So what I want to do is I'm going to do a little ripping right here. Okay, so there's my pecan layer. Now we have another layer here. Okay, and this is going to tuck under so that I keep revealing my white core of my paper. Now, we could do it the other way as well. We could be, you know, going this way. Of course, we'd have to rip this one from the other side if we didn't want that white layer to show, or we could actually come in and brush a little color over it as well. Okay, so then we'll take this one. So we will, you know, you just kind of do what you like. Do you want the white core to show or not? Just kind of depends on the direction you rip. Okay, so now we can just layer these all back on. Okay, so that one will go on first. And then this one will tuck underneath. So now we kind of have some interest going here. So I'm going to glue these on. Let's start with this one. So see, this paper is cute as well, but it's kind of like that rock one, kind of like this one. It's really strong to just be a paper all on its own. I mean, I can see tucking it here and there, but it's kind of strong. So that's why I thought, well, what if I did this? Okay, so this is going there. So then this one is next. We have this one. And so I'm going to put this bottom one on, and I'm going to leave it unglued. I'm just going to put glue right here so that we can kind of merge these other two pieces in and, you know, make sure we have our paper covered. You know what I mean? So put that bottom one on, then this one will tuck in, and then this one will tuck in. If you get where I'm going with this, right? Okay, so let's just start. Let's do this one first. It doesn't really matter, but I am going to leave a little bit free from glue. I can always reach back in there and get some more glue action going in a second, which I will. And then we'll put this one in. This one I can fully glue down. Okay, look at that. I think that's really cool looking. Let's see here. I just got glue, so we'll get rid of that. All right, so now I'm gonna take just a piece of scrap. Where do I have a piece of scrap? Find a little piece of scrap paper, like right here. This is going to become my fancy tool. You've seen me do this many times, but I do want to get these glued down, and you'll see why in a second that I want these, you know, glued down pretty well. Okay. So let's glue these down for sure. Get that one down, and then we need to get this one down, and this one's pretty good. Okay. Yep, I use my scraps as little glue knives, palette knives, for adding glue in. Okay, get rid of that. Got it on my fingers. Lovely. All right, wipe it off on scratch paper. Okay, always have glue everywhere. Okay, so the reason I wanted to glue these down for sure is because I want that glue down so that I can come in and kind of use leverage against it and kind of pick at these and create, because I don't want it quite so, I want a little bit more dimension. And if you come in here, of course I got it glued down really, really well, and I can't get it started, but just kind of, once you get in there, you can kind of just bring this down, and, you know, that little bit of leverage allows you to kind of distress these edges the best you can, except for where I really glued it down. But what it does is it softens this white edge just a little bit, at the same time giving you some nice dimension. Okay, almost looks a little bit like, you know, little ripple action in the river. little wave action. Whoops, I scratched my paper. We'll have to put something there. Okay, speaking of putting something there, next what I want to do is I have one last little set of otters here. Well, I actually have this guy too, but I'm going to use this one. I love these two. They look like a happy little mom and dad. And so there is an exact die for this. There's also a stamp image for it, okay? So remember from the beginning, I mentioned that you have the stamps once you run out of the papers. But let's really frame this out. Okay, get this on here just right. Let's see. Nope, I'm not right. Okay, there's one little piece of tape and one more just to really keep it secure. We'll run this through the Big Shot, the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Even after all these years, I still get caught saying Big Shot. Oh well. Hello, Marcia. Okay, so I have my cute little dudes. And oh, we have some creating. I know what we're gonna do. Okay, I forgot. We should have done this part first. So we have them. You have a label in your pack there as well. That's gonna come in here somewhere. All right. But we need some logs. So we're gonna create some logs. So with one of your pieces of white, let's take, and I brought some different colors brown here. So I have my pecan pie, and then I have SU 100 and SU 200. So we are just going to scribble like we did for the fish earlier. So I'm just going to do some lines here. So this was, I don't know which pecan, I think that might have been light. That was dark. Let's come back in with some light. Just kind of bring it into these centers here. Just kind of blend it out a little bit. It does not have to look great or perfect by any means. Now let's do the same thing using the others. So we'll just have some different tone colors of, we have some different log colors coming in here. There's that. A little bit of the darker color. This one's good and juicy. Just fill in here and there. Leave some lights and some white, So that'll be good for our logs. And look at this log die. How cool is that? I'm just going to run these in the direction of my paper here. I'm actually going to go ahead and go like this, though. We are going to double up, and we're going to do 2 at a time. So just going to kind of run that through and get myself some logs, because I want, 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. We'll see how many. I just want enough that I can start to kind of play around with it a little bit. But look how cute these are. Haha, these are so cute. Super, super cute. Okay, one of them stuck in the paper. It's stuck in the die. Let's see here. There we go. So look at that. Is that cute or what? All right, and these are perfect for creating pylons if you have the seagulls. If you have those seagull stamps from Celebration, use them, okay? So we have these logs. So let's do that again. Let's get ourselves some more log action. And look how the, coloring, it didn't need to be all perfect. They kind of look like logs. And a little bit more interesting than just cutting them from straight brown cardstock, right? Okay, here's a couple more logs. There's another one, and another one, And you know what? I'm gonna do one more set just because I can. Okay, there's one, and there's one hiding in here from the last one. Get it to pop out. You know, so I dropped it. Did you see me? I don't think you saw exactly what I did. I held it up about a foot higher than the camera and dropped it to pop it out. So, yep, that's how I get them out sometimes. So there are my logs. I think I need some foliage. So I'm going to come to this piece here so that our foliage is a little bit different than some of our other cards. I'm going to go back to that old olive ink pad and my old olive blending brush. And we are going to change this piece up. There's some old olive. Now let's run some Lost Lagoon over it as well. Okay, just kind of in some of those areas where I don't have the old olive. Just kind of make these a little darker. Now this case, I'm okay with having these big splotchiness. It'll make for some interesting leaves and things. Okay, very good. Let's get our leaf dies and die cut some leaves. So we have that one, this one, and we'll do all three at the same time. And I'm going to try and move them so that I can, excuse me, get maximum use out of what I've got here. Okay, here we go. Run these through. Okay. And look how cool this leaf is going to look. I like it. We've got different tones in there. And this Valentine, I think will turn out nice. I mean, it's cutesy, but at least it's not pink and red cutesy or even Flirty Flamingo cutesy like the other one. Has a little bit of that in it, which I'm okay with, but. Okay, so there's some of my foliage. Where's that other? There's one hiding in here. I'm not sure if I need any more, but we have this on hand if we do need a little bit more. Okay, here we go. Here we go, here we go. All right, let's look at our pieces here. Let me look at my sketch. All right, so I'm just taking a glance at my sketch and I need to stamp my greeting. And so my greeting, I want it to say we're cute together, but it obviously isn't gonna fit on my label the right way. So, and I am going to use the espresso color, but I'm gonna just ink up the We're Cute first. Okay, so just the We're Cute. And you could use tape and tape it off and all that good stuff. But here's the We're Cute. You know what? I better fix this. Can you see all that extra ink around the W? I'm going to clean it because I don't want to catch those edges because I only have one label here. Although I could cut another one from, because I have shapes out. But We're Cute. Just We're Cute. I'm trying to catch the edges where I seem to have more ink. Okay, so I'm going to center this. We're Cute and hope for the best. Yeah. Caught a little edge right there. Shoot, Queen. If I had an, oh, I do. I have a white eraser here. Let's see if I can get that tiny little bit that I caught off. Kind of, a little bit, not all the way. A sand eraser might get it off. I can even kind of come in here. See, that's why I like a hobby blade. and scrape it off and then smooth it out. Okay. All right. Clean this. And now we'll just ink up the word together. Get that good and clean. We'll ink up together and stamp that right underneath. Okay. We're cute together. Ah, look at that. Now it fits the label. Just like that. Nice. All right. I think I want some Lost Lagoon because we're going to go to that magic stamp. The magic stamp, the money maker, the School of Fish. And so, even though they're kind of up here on the shore, we get a little bit of a look of what's back in here. We're going to put some fish in here. Okay. We'll do the same thing as the Flirty Flamingo. And let's just do some fish that are kind of coming around this way. And some that are kind of coming right up into them. Fun. Now, I'm not quite sure how high these are going to land. If I needed them down a little lower, we'll see. I think that's good. It's like, do I want some more coming from over here? Maybe in Pool Party. Haha, let's do it. It might not be the right call, but let's try it anyway. Because again, we're stamping from a sketch. Let's just kind of finish the swirl out. Okay, cool. So there was 2 in Lost Lagoon and 1 in Pool Party, kind of mimicking our ombre. Okay, so we need dimensionals. We need all of our bits and pieces. Now, I had intended to include this, but I forgot to tie it around one of these layers. So, well, we'll use that on a different project. But it was in your kit. It's the pecan pie bordered ribbon. So it fits this color scheme. If you want to use it somewhere, go for it. Or just omit it. But let's see here. We're going to, I'm going to lay all my pieces out on my scratch paper because I want to do just a little bit of splattering. I'm not going to splatter this guy, but I am definitely going to splatter my logs, some of the leaves. We're just going to do an all-over splatter, okay? Because I'm kind of addicted to this step, but it really does make for some interesting looks. Okay, so just get all your stuff on here. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to grab this is SU 200. And I'm just going to get some going on my card base here. Over here on these logs. And the foliage. Let's get this log. A little bit on my greeting. And now I think I'm going to switch to, since we don't have, well, I could have pulled Lost Lagoon, but I didn't. But Pool Party wasn't really going to show up. I actually brought out some Summer Splash. Let me do some light Summer Splash. Just primarily up in here. A little on my greeting. There it finally went. Okay, so I just kind of gave it a little bit of texture. Do you know, years ago, we sold a paper. We sold it in ivory and in kind of a silvery white, and it was called Naturals. And that had fleck in it, just like this. I wouldn't mind that paper coming back. Okay, let's get some dimensionals going on some of these things so we can start to add and bring our sketch to life here. So this guy is going to kind of come in here. And then we're going to have our greeting kind of below it, almost like they're sitting on it in a way. Okay. And then Nicole still has some Naturals White, all-time favorite paper. Yes. We also had confetti, and the splatter wasn't speckly. It was a little bit more confetti-like, a little bit more rectangular, you know? Okay, so I'm not the only crazy out there that remembers these kinds of things. Okay, so I'm going to actually do these opposite of what you're thinking. I'm going to kind of build these up this way. I mean, I could do my logs, and maybe I will have some coming across, but I was just thinking that we would kind of just build these up a little bit. Who knows? And maybe we'll have another one kind of just down here, but just creating a little scene here. And, you know, maybe soften this just a little bit with a little bit of greenery. Okay, we'll tuck that down a little lower. And then maybe include some of this down in here as well. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, I might have too many logs, but you kind of get the idea of where my brain was. So let's just kind of get this all kind of put together here. So I think I'm going to start, maybe we'll go just a little bit higher. I'm going to add my focal point, which is this little couple here. Scooch those out. So we'll bring these up just a little bit right into here. Okay, and I am going to offset the greeting. I don't want it directly underneath them. You know, that's a little, I don't know, for me, I like it more offset. So we'll offset there. And then let's go ahead and put a couple of these logs kind of, I'm going to flip this so that one's upside down and one's right side up. But we'll kind of put them, you know, just kind of across the bottom here. Let's see. We'll dimensional one and we'll glue one. How's that? We're working off the fly. I can't believe you still have some of that paper. I really liked the naturals. Yes. Wouldn't mind it coming back. I guess if we really wanted some, we could buy some off of Nicole. Okay, so I'm going to put 2 dimensionals on this. One on each end, because the middle is going to kind of be up on here. You know, that paper was available in the catalog when I joined back in 1998. Kind of put this one right here. Cool. We'll do, I'm going to lift hit their little buns right there. So maybe that one's going to go in there. You have it too, Jacqueline? You bought it in the clearance rack 5 or 6 years ago. Nice. Nice. Okay, let's see. Not quite sure how many logs I really want in here, but we'll see. We'll see what we come up with. We'll see what we create. I might need some rocks. Remember our rock dies? Let's see, do I have any of that paper left? I do. Let's see if I have enough. Yes, put it in the sandbox, everybody. Bring back the naturals. Okay, I'm going to cut some rocks. Die cut some rocks. I don't know if it's still being manufactured. I'm sure there is something like it. I mean, that would make sense, right? Just curious of you guys, who has the Otter bundle here? Do any of you have these Otter, any of this sweet collection? Maybe you just have the DSP, which is a cool way because, you know, you can find other leaves and things, right? You know, kind of tuck some of these rocks here and there. I might need more rocks. I'm going to cut 2 more small ones just because I can. Okay, we're nearing the end of this one. Except I lost my, oh, there it is. I'm like, I lost my rock. Okay, got some rocks. So the cool thing is, I've shown you most of the dies for this sweet collection. There are a couple that I didn't use, and one is an open die for the little leaf stamp that I used. This one right there. There is a die for that. You can barely see it on the scratch paper there, but there's a die for that. There's also all of these dots, these little, I'm going to call them fish bubbles. That would be cool for adding some fun stuff. So if before I put this on, I could have, you know, ran that through so it looked like there were little bubbles coming out of those fish. And then there's this die right here that I haven't used ever. I did cut it. What it does is it just cuts, you know, these kind of curved lines that I think if you do enough of it, you could paper piece some really cool waves and things with it. Yes, there have been some otters and things. I think the other otters were more sea otter, but same, you know, I know they're not the same, but you get my drift, you know. Same sort of idea. You could do the same layouts and things and have a similar look and feel. Yes, that's cool. Okay, these are not clouds, but you get the idea. Okay, so let's get some of this glued in place, and we'll see how much we actually use and don't use. You know, maybe I don't use that second log. Maybe we thin it out just a skosh. Yes, there are sea otters and river otters, and they are different. So the designer at Stampin' Up, who did this suite, somewhere in all of Stampin' Up stuff, I don't quite remember, they did a, maybe it was during Creativity Now, I don't remember. Anyways, she shared the difference between the sea otters and the river otters. So she wanted to do something different, and the river otters, you know, they just have a completely different, you know, where they live is different than in the sea. So she was able to do some different things. So that's why she went with the river instead of the sea otters. Okay, so I think I'm going to not double up the logs. I'm going to kind of keep them a little thinner just so that it's not quite so heavy. I don't know if that's the right call or not, but for right now, it's what I'm going to do. Where's my fancy tool here? I'm going to reach some glue under here. Okay, let's bring this one in, kind of tuck that behind there. I'll have to lift this little side of the otters up, but I'm going to kind of add a little glue in a few places just to kind of tack this down. But get in there. Okay, just that piece. We'll kind of frame this side out. We'll, you know, kind of keeping it somewhat symmetrical, but not totally. But, you know, cute little scene here. The happy couple. Okay. Let's get this piece of greenery. I like this small greenery. It's easy to work with. Actually, all of these pieces are. And it's nice because they've given us there's some variation to them. Sometimes when they give you the same things, it's like, oh man, I wish that were going the other way, or vice versa. All right, let's figure out where we're going to put some rocks. You know, do we need some rocks in here? Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Maybe right there. Where's that big guy? Here it is. Maybe we'll bring him really. Let's get him down in there. I don't know, kind of just add some nice color. rock action on the maybe small. Yeah, I think we'll do something like that. Okay, so I don't think I really need these, but we'll keep them. You can always use it for another card. But let's add these in, and then I'm going to add in my other gems that I had left over because they're awesome. So just tuck that guy way down in there. Oh, great. Can you hear Brian howling? He doesn't even know what he's barking at. Sorry, you guys. Hey! You like the way I yell at him? Hey! They would not get up this morning. You're nice. Good job, Brian. They would not get out of bed. It's like when it's cold outside, they will not get out of bed. And I'm like, you guys, you're just like, so 2 of them went out, but 2 of them are still inside. So the 2 that are out are barking at something out there. And so then these guys figured they had to like join in and say their piece too. Oh man, I lost my rock. Hold on. Fell on the floor. Okay. I think I'm going to put this one on with the dimensional. So we got all the dogs going. I'm so sorry. And Brian does this crazy, when he gets upset, he howls. And I'm like, why do you do this? You crazy dog. You know? Okay. Let's get one last rock going here. I think I'm going to put it right there. Well, maybe a little higher. Okay. Cute. Cute, cute, cute. Okay. So we've got our main show going here. We have a little bit more of this. You know, is it long enough to go all the way around? I don't know. Not quite. Not quite. But I feel like we could, you know, maybe use it, maybe not, if it's going to be a guy card. Let's bring in our rocks. These cool gems. I forgot what they're called. Polished. I don't know, are they polished rocks or something? But just start to kind of tuck them here and there where the other rocks are. They are pretty, I will say. I mean, they're pretty cool, you know. Maybe bring that one under that log. There we go. That's cool. So I have a bunch here. I'm just going to use them all. Yeah, why not? Get some hiding, a little peak of shine. Ugh, Lily needs excitement. That's your dog's name? That is such a cute name for a dog. Our little furry friends. Yep. They're kind of crazy. Maybe add one, tuck one in there. It's kind of weird, but I'm going to roll with it. Maybe another one kind of right in here. Kind of carry that line down. So just have some fun. Put those wherever you like. And let's give it one last bit of shine. I feel like this rock right here needs to be on a dimensional. So I'm going to add one there because it's kind of like caving in. Yeah, that's better. Better. Just felt like it was losing its oomph, but cute little scene here. Yeah, we've kind of covered up our ombre, but we didn't want it to be in your face, or at least I didn't want it to be. But there is some hidden textures in there that they're peeking through here and there. But, you know, it's just kind of fun. So let's give this let's stylize the faces. Their little face, maybe even all of their little chest here, their neck. Okay, and we'll just give it a little, especially in this little, oh, that was some good splatters. And there you have it. It's a cute little card here using the dies. And there you have card number 3. It's a cute little Valentine. Not quite so like girly Valentine. And here's our second card that we did. And here is our first card. All right, I have one last project. So this one you saw was kind of a riff on the diamond fold bag, right? That took it from bag to card. This one is slightly inspired by this box. And so this also, you know, cute little scene here. So I used all the logs to kind of create a frame, but similar. So it inspired this, but kind of not totally exactly. So anyways, this cute little box. Yeah, the bag was fun. I enjoyed making the bag. I think I need to kind of pop this. I have a few dimensions I need to add in that one just to kind of keep it from sagging out in places. But I hope you enjoyed these cards. I had fun with them. And again, I'll just kind of reiterate, I had one kit, and so these actually were designed. Julie was with me yesterday. They were designed as sketches on paper with a few notes, and then I went from there. So if they're kind of weird, it's because I didn't make any before, or, you know, didn't make them ahead of time, and I wasn't copying them again. Anyway, so I will catch you next week for Paper Pumpkin. And don't forget, if you have not registered, I highly recommend. There are 4 options for the Wildflower Birthday Stamp Camp. Studio Ink Spots has made a return. There's 4 options, like I said. There's a PDF version, I believe is $41. There's a version that is just your kits, but those kits do include some product because we're using product in those kits. And I believe that one's $101. And then there's a $141 that includes all of your swag and all of your kits. And then there's the biggest option, which I believe is $191. And that'll include your suite. Sorry, not your suite, but your bundle. So your stamps and dies. So 4 options. It's such a huge bargain, you guys. I cannot stress how much stuff we do between all the presentations that you will see. You will see so much stuff, and it'll just be a good time. And it's all recorded. You know, it's recorded live, and then that way, if you have to go back and watch it later, you can. So I highly recommend this. You have until the 14th of February to register. So join me for my 9th. Can you believe it? This makes 9 Studio Ink Spots, my 9th one. So I'll see you then. Jacqueline says it's so worth it to get at least the kits cut by Liz. Yeah, it kind of, but at the same time, the PDF is you know, helpful too, and they're not too hard to cut, but yeah, I agree. I agree with Jacqueline. Thanks for the plug there, Jacqueline. I appreciate it. All right, I will see you guys next Thursday in the Seeing Ink Spots Facebook page for Hearts for You. See you then. Bye-bye. Nicole. So this is P.S. I'm still here. I'm reading Nicole's comment. She says, she's only missed one. Can't wait. She made sure she was going to be home from a trip for this camp. Yep, that's right. Nicole has been there from the beginning. She did miss one, but that is so cool. Awesome. I'm glad to have you again, Nicole. See you then. Bye-bye.